Okay, part two. One thing I failed to mention in part one, I always like to bend my hooks out before I drive the hook through the bait itself. I use a good set of heavy dike pliers and I'll bend that out. This one again has already been bent out, and I'll run it through the bait and it'll have tapered out upward a little bit, and it provides a little bit of a catch. I don't think this is anything new, but I'd just like to reiterate what I do with the bait. Another thing, and this applies to all the baits, I also like to use a nail. And what I'll do with this nail is get a set of regular pliers, grip it, and then I'll torch it, heat that nail up, and then I'll burn an alleyway right at the nose of the bait underneath it, and burn it down about a 1/4 inch. And when you run that hook back through the bait, it'll provide an extra 1/4+ inch of hook penetration that comes out of the top of the bait. And that's really helped with my hook up to land ratio, creating that little alleyway right down there on the bottom. It just exposes more of the hook for a better hook set. I also like to boil my tails. Now these tails come pretty straight out of the package, but I always boil them just to make sure they're dead nut straight. Also provides a little softer action on the back at slower speeds. I think that's a good way as well to provide that kind of action. It softens the tail. It gives it more lifelike presentation. I also like on some of my baits to trim off all the fins. As you can see in this package, these fins are all intact on this bait. This is a brand new bait out of the package. When I run these baits fast, I like to take all the fins off, because if you ever see a trout swimming through the water at a higher speed, all the fins are tucked in. It just gives it a more natural presentation. These baits are great boot tail style baits, and they do a nice nose search. They don't blow out, they don't rock, they do a nice nose search and a good paddle. Love the action of these baits, and this color just gets bit. I also like to modify my weight and add additional weight if need be. Taking away weight is another option. I will Dremel down a 3/4 ounce 12-aught beast hook, the weight, and I'll Dremel it down to a 0.4 ounce on these baits, and that's the sweet spot. That's pretty much the lightest you can get away with. I like other beast hook style baits like KBB, but I love owners weighting on these hooks. They're flat, they're stealthy, and they're easy to modify. But yeah, 0.4 ounce off of the 3/4 ounce down to is the sweet spot, and is pretty much as light as weight you can get away with the bait. That'll be my burner. And also nail weighting. Nail weighting options. I like to nail weight my baits. 3/32 of an ounce nail weights I usually typically use, and I'll run one horizontally in the ass end of the bait, like so. And if you can see that, and I can add additional ones on the sides of the hook slot. One there and one there. And you can do combinations of these to add more weight to get it down to 30+ feet and slow creep on bottom. This is a great way to do it as well. Stay tuned for part 3.